3.1 Perfect Competition and Monopoly. Lesson 1 Perfect Competition. Market structure describes the features of a market. The first market to consider is perfect competition. Perfectly competitive markets are assumed to have these features. There are many buyers and sellers. Firms produce a standardized services or commodity. Buyers are fully informed about the price, the quality, and availability of products, and as well the sellers. Firms can easily enter or leave the industry. The examples of perfectly competitive markets are Globe Telecom or Mercury Drugs. Market price is the current price at which an asset can be bought or sold. Lesson 2 Monopoly. Monopoly is a form of market where there is a one seller selling a particular commodity for which there are no close substitute. Barriers to entry. A monopolized market has high barriers to entry, which are restrictions on the entry of new firms into an industry. There are three types of barriers to entry, which are legal restriction, economies of scale, and control of essential resources. In legal restrictions, other firms can be blocked through patents, trademark, copyright, and other licenses. For some products, the government erects barriers to entry by prohibiting or limiting competition. For example, under US law, postal service is legally allowed to deliver first-class mail. Economies of scale. A monopoly sometimes emerges naturally when a firm can sometimes satisfy market demand at a lower average cost per unit than could two or more smaller firms. Natural monopoly are something other than legal prohibition. Because of economies of scale, one producer can serve the entire market more efficiently than a number of smaller producers. And lastly, the control of essential resources. Sometimes the source of monopoly power is a firm's control over some resources critical to production.
Lesson 3 Monopoly and Deficiency. Monopolists are not guaranteed a profit. Monopolists can lose money, and monopolies are relatively rare. So then, what's the problem? One way to understand the problem is to compare the difference between monopoly and perfect competition. There are other problems encountered with monopoly, and those may be when resources are wasted securing monopoly privilege, and also when monopolies grow inefficient. Aside from problems, there are reasons why monopoly might not be so bad. Those are economies of scale, government regulation, keeping prices low to avoid regulation, and finally, keeping prices low to prevent competition. Lesson 3.2 Monopolistic Competition and Oligopoly. Lesson 1 Monopolistic Competition. In monopolistic competition, many firms offer products that differ slightly. As the expression suggests, this structure contains elements of both monopoly and competition. The monopolistic element is that each firm has some market power, while the competition element is that barriers to entry are so low that any short-run profit attracts new competitors and this will erode profit in the long run. Market characteristics. Because barriers to entry are low, firms in monopolistic competition can, in the long run, enter or leave the market with ease. Consequently, there are enough sellers that they may behave competitively. There are also enough sellers that each tends to get lost in the crowd. A particular firm in deciding on a price does not worry about how other firms in the market will react. They tend to act independently from its many competitors. The product differentiation may occur in physical differences, location, services, and the product image. Costs of product differentiation. Firms in monopolistic competition spend more on marketing to differentiate their products than do firms in perfect competition. This increases average cost. Some economists argue that monopolistic competition results in too many firms and in product differentiation that is artificial. Others are that consumers are willing to pay higher price for wider choice. Excess capacity. Firms in monopolistic competition are said to operate with excess capacity, which means that a firm could lower its average cost per unit by selling more.
Lesson 2. Oligopoly. Oligopoly is a Greek word meaning few sellers. When you think of big business, you are thinking of oligopoly, a market that is dominated by just few firms. Because of this market has only few firms, each must consider the effect of its own action on competitors' behavior. Oligopolistic industries include markets for steel, oil, automobiles. Undifferentiated oligopoly sells a commodity, and the products are identical across the producers. Differentiated oligopoly sells products that differ across the producers. Firms in an oligopoly are interdependent. Each firm knows that any change in its price, output, or advertising may prompt a react from its rivals. Barriers to entry. An oligopoly often can be traced to some barriers to entry, such as economics of scale or brand names built up by years of advertising. Most of the barriers that apply to monopoly also apply to oligopoly. Economies of scale. It is the most significant barrier to entry. The minimum efficient scale is the lowest rate of output at which a firm takes full advantage of economies of scale. If a firm's minimum efficient scale is large compared to industry output, then only few firms are needed to produce the total amount demanded in the market. The high cost of entry. The total investment needed to reach the minimum efficient size may be huge. Advertising a new product to compete with established brands could require enormous outlays. A failed product could bankrupt new firms. That is why most new significant products usually come from large, existing firms which can be better withstand with the possible costs. Product differentiation cost. Some of these provide valuable information to consumers and offers them a wider array of products. However, some forms of product differentiation appear to be a little value. Product differentiation expenditures create barriers to entry. Collusion is an agreement among firms in the industry to divide the market and fix the price. A cartel is a group of firms to agree the act of single monopolists to increase the market price and maximize the group of profits. Compared with competing firms, colluding firms usually produce less, change more, earn more profit, and try to block the entry of new firms. Collusion and cartels are illegal in the United States. However, monopoly profit can be so tempting that some firms break the law. Other countries are more tolerant of cartels. The biggest obstacle to maintaining a profitable cartel is powerful temptation that each member has to cheat on a cartel agreement. A cartel collapses once cheating becomes widespread. The obstacle to cartel success is the entry of rival firms. A cartel's continuous success therefore demands on the ability to block the entry of new firms or to get any firms to join the cartel. Finally, cartels, like monopolists, must be concerned that technological change can erode their market power.